I love this movie. I think the 2003 Ang Lee Hulk with Eric Bana is a great movie, and I'm tired of pretending it's not. Well, I never did, but I'm just saying. It's the me. There we go. Now my bright ass forehead isn't so bright. Anyways, though, this isn't retroactive history. This isn't. I'm not like saying like, oh, this was actually brilliant. No, it was. This is what I'm specifically doing is when like the younger generation that grew up with the thing is now able to voice their opinions online and they're able to talk about things, and now that's why it's coming out and stuff like that. Now there are going to be people like the other side, the retroactive history, that try to say, oh, this was always really good. Like, for instance, God of War Ascension is terrible. It was terrible at the time, it's terrible now. Just accept that fact. This, however, is also terrible, but it's also not. So I love this movie. See, I was literally just talking to my sister actually about the Hulk and Spider-Man and stuff like that, about how the Hulk's going to be put in Brand New Day, and about how we haven't gotten a Hulk movie since 2008. And I like this Hulk movie too. This is really good. They're kind of different movies. They're obviously not going for the same thing. This isn't like how Spider-Man and the Amazing Spider-Man and Spider-Man Homecoming, you kind of know what you're getting, like Spider-Man. These are very different Hulk movies, you know? I mean, they're obviously made by different studios, different teams, different ideas and visions behind them. There was no interconnected universe to pair this movie with. Talking to her about how it's really a disservice, it's a crime that we haven't gotten a Hulk movie since 2008, because there is so much Hulk story to go around. There's the abuse, the trauma, PTSD, the emotional themes, the split personality. I mean, just all of it, man. The rage. And this movie also does the big cool action scenes as well. There's a scene where he fights the military and he's like, taking out tanks and stuff like that. There's a scene where he's doing this, he's doing that. It's really cool. One more thing, editing Tyler here, I forgot to mention. Hulk gets spiked in the balls. So there's two scenes of Hulk getting hit in the balls or hurt in the balls somewhere. So when you see him pick up the tank at first, right? He goes to pick it up and it breaks off the head of it, but the barrel spikes him in the nuts, and you see him react, and then he like steps over it so that he can pick it up from the side instead. And then there's also a scene where Hulk is fighting some Hulk dogs, because yes, there's Hulk dogs in this, dogpiling. And anyways, and bites him in the fucking balls, dude. I'm serious. You see it. You see it like latch down on his fucking nads, and then like he's like, and then when he picks up the dog, like he goes and he picks up the dog and he punches the dog in the balls, and I just can't believe I forgot to mention that in this beautiful masterpiece of a movie. I forgot to mention both times Hulk got punched or hit in the balls. And it kind of does the two climax things where there's the climax in, is it San Francisco? I don't remember what city. I think it is San Francisco because I remember seeing the Golden Gate Bridge, right? Yeah. Anyways, there's the climax where he meets Betty. Well, not meets, but he sees Betty and he calms down, and that's where you get like the shrinking scene where he goes from like a big old Hulk to little Bruce Banner, puny Banner, and then there's the second climax because it does that, and then it's like, but wait, there's a whole other 20 minutes of this movie, and then you get the confrontation between him and his father, and it is like peak writing. I honestly, I think when I was a kid, I would rewatch this a lot, and I was obsessed with Hulk, like this movie. I was obsessed with this. I would watch it all the time. I had the PlayStation 2 tie-in game, and I think that's actually a really great game. Like, This probably is nostalgia talking because I don't own it anymore. I have not played this game in like a decade. So it's absolutely nostalgia talking, but if you can, track down the PlayStation 2 Hulk tie-in game. That thing's awesome. First of all, eat your heart out, Marvel Spider-Man. This did, human sections that was so freaking cool, because the Hulk sections were obviously, big fights and stuff like that. Whereas the Bruce Banner sections were like cool espionage stuff where you're sneaking into facilities and, avoiding guards and stuff like that. And I don't think you even have a way to take out guards. So if you caught, you caught. Too bad, so sad, Bucko. But it had a really cool tie-in game. And they really like leaned into the comics and stuff like that and had you fighting this character, that character. And it was pretty neato. Pretty neato. I gotta track that down and play that again. Getting off topic. Anyways. Well, still kind of on topic. But anyways. This movie, though, I wanted to start with the positive. Because I get the glazing out of the way. Now for the hazing, It's weird. It is a weird movie. It's a very strange movie. So, the director, Ang Lee, he does this comic style thing. And it's really effective in some scenes and really strange. If you look up Hulk explosion scene, okay, you can see the worst editing where it's the one scene that everybody, you're gonna see that thumbnail and think that it's a thumbnail that somebody created or whatever. That's an actual shot from the movie. He explodes, comes at the pause, flies at the camera, and then like freeze frames like this, and there's like a white outline around him while the explosion is happening. Well, the explosion also gets freezed, but still, it's very strange. But look up the Hulk desert scene and the Hulk breakout scene. Those really show this panel editing really working. I really think they nailed it in those shots. I think it's cool being able to see both Bruce's / Hulk's face and Everett Ross's face at the same time. And, you don't have to sacrifice any screen time necessarily. You literally see them like this, it's like face. And it'll constantly have like things going here and, candle, stuff going by right here, and it draws the eye while also having like a scene going on as the primary scene. There's all these little scenes. Like, for instance, I'm gonna kind of make this up, but I kind of know what it is at the same time too. Just bear with me here. So there's the house scene where they're going into the house, and it's the one where it's after the explosion, and the guy who got exploded, I don't remember his name, he survives it, and he's like pushing Bruce, and stuff like that. While that's going on, you just see like a panel of the military setting up outside, and a panel of some soldiers, raising their guns in the bush, like near the bushes and stuff like that, outside in the windows and stuff. While there's the whole thing going on with the guy pushing Bruce, and it's just really cool when it works. It just doesn't always work. And then also about this scene, this movie, so it's one of those movies where if it is a not slow-paced movie, but it gives the movie gives its characters time to breathe, okay? It gives scenes time to have some weight to them, it takes it slow, not everything is edited, this isn't the MCU, there isn't some quip, undercutting the tension every 5 seconds. It lets silence happen. It lets scenes happen. Foreboding atmospheres happen. All of that. And they really go into Bruce's like backstory about how he was abused. How this happened, that happened, the trauma he has, the PTSD he has, and then Betty Ross's as well. And it gives those characters time to breathe. So if you don't necessarily vibe with the characters, which I think if you watch this movie and you give it an honest shot, you will, but everybody's different. You might watch it and say, this is terrible. That's perfectly fine. Everybody's entitled to have their own wrong opinions. But anyways, Sorry. Anyways, if you don't like that, then you're gonna be watching a lot of movie that isn't cool action scenes where Hulk is fighting tanks and helicopters in the desert. But that's why I like this. This is the serious Hulk movie. This is the Hulk movie that, this is unapologetic, unashamed, first and foremost, okay? Because this came out in 2003. X-Men came out in 2000, okay? Like, those movies were going on while you had this. This came out in an era where they were making jokes about comic accuracy. It's the one line that everybody quotes all the time. You guys actually go outside in these things? What would you prefer, yellow spandex? This movie looks at that and says, nah, big green guy. Big green guy over there. We're gonna do it. Absorbing Man. He can touch things and turn into them and, get this material and this, whatever. We're gonna do it. He's right over there. He's munching on some cables and he turns into storm at the end. And the ending, bro. I alluded to it a second ago. But that ending, that second climax, the first climax is, I think when I was a kid, I stopped at that climax a lot of the time, and then my interest kind of waned for the second one, because, like, you already did the thing, now there's more thing, which is good, but, like, when you're a kid and stuff like that, you're like, alright, well, let's go outside, let's go play, let's go do something else. But that second climax is so understated, because it's both the big CGI battle and such a human being to human being. I mean, the dad is, I don't know, bro. He's a character. And you get that scene where Bruce finally lets it all out and, yells at him and, says this and that. And, what does the dad do? I can't remember his name. I know he's the Absorbing Man, but I can't remember his actual name. David Banner? Is that right? David Banner? Fake fan, I know. I'm sorry, I can't remember, the name of a comic book character's dad. I also don't remember Peter Parker's dad's name. Franklin? No, that's... Yeah, Franklin Parker? Is that Peter Parker's dad? I don't know, bro. Get out of here. Anyways, and what does the dad do? Mock him. He starts, like, boo-hooing and, like, crying, like, fake crying, and, it, like, triggers, Bruce to turn into the Hulk, and that, you want my power, then take it all, and he, like, exudes his power somehow, I guess, I don't know, he accepts his power to be taken by Absorbing, and he can't handle it, and he can't handle all of this stress and trauma and PTSD that he's imbued into his son over the years. He can't handle that when it's reflected back onto him. It's the writing, peak cinema. I just dropped that. Peak cinema, I don't even care. I mean, I do care. But give this movie a shot. Even though I just spoiled the hell out of it, spoiler warning, by the way, yeah, I literally gave no spoiler warning. I just talked about the end of the movie and several scenes throughout. But my bad, bro. My fault, gang. It's one of those movies, even if you do know the stuff I told you, I think you'll still enjoy it. There's movies that when they get spoiled, they're not fun. Like, honestly, the only movie that has that effect for me, movies, is, like, murder mysteries. Because if you know who did the murder, then it's just, like, a whole bunch of, like, running around for it. Like, for instance, Knives Out, it is Chris Evans, you're welcome. Hey. I've been Scavenger Reviews. Give this movie a shot. This is a good movie. I love this movie. Pick it up on Blu-ray, DVD, fuck it, VHS, bro. It was old enough, it's got a VHS copy. Get a VHS copy of it at your local thrift store. Fuck it, go for it, bro. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff, hype me up. Apparently you have to be a member for that? I don't know how that stuff works. But if you can, hype me up. I need the views. Please, I need the views. And let me know what you guys think about the 2003 Ang Lee Hulk movie. And I guess Hulk is a character, and 2008 Hulk. I really like this one too. Not for the same reasons, obviously, but that's a whole other video. Ooh, ooh, ooh.